10A. Welcome to Hindi Reading Class 10A. We're going to talk about conjuncts today, and you'd be surprised how long you can go without really understanding what conjuncts are and why they're there. So we're going to talk about that today. So how would you write the word Hindi in Hindi? That's an interesting question. Hello, and welcome to Hindi Reading Class 10A. We're going to discuss conjuncts today, and you'd be amazed how long you can go without really understanding why conjuncts are in the language. So it's very important that you learn this because it is a major part of reading Hindi. How would you write the word Hindi in Hindi? It's an interesting question. Well, based on only what we know now, if we only read or watched all the videos up to now, we would probably think that we would write it like this. Well, there's a slight problem with that. And what is that? Well, based on what we know up to now, this wouldn't work because Mr. Ugly Duckling is right in between the N and the D. So this really would say to us, based on what we know now, Hinna D. And that's not what we want to say. That's not what we want to say. We want to say Hindi, but instead we're stuck with Hinna D. Interesting. And how would you say the English word school? Another interesting question. Because if we wrote it like this, Mr. Ugly Duckling is in between S and Ku, and so we would have to pronounce this Sakul. Sakul, which is not the same as school. Sakul, school. We want to get rid of a. How do we do that? Well, obviously, we use a sword. Well, yes, the sword. So we're going to get rid of him with the sword. And what's left is this little mark called the Holland. And the Holland is the mark left to let you know that we got rid of We got rid of Ugly Duckling. And so this is no longer sa. This is s. Interesting, isn't it? Holland literally means plow at the end. We plowed away or chopped away the So this is now s. And so we have the sa with the Holland, which is followed by cool. So how do we pronounce that? School. Do you see what we did? There's no more so it's not sakul. Because we have that little mark, it is now school. Well, that's very important little mark there, because now we can do things like this. How do we pronounce this? This would be pronounced balu, balu. But then if we ching, get rid of Ugly Duckling, now we're left with blue. Do you see? Two consonants with no vowel in between. Blue. And how would you pronounce this? This would be pronounced falu, falu. But now we ching, get rid of the and suddenly we can say flu, flu. How we pronounce this? This is galu, galu. But now we get rid of Ugly Duckling and we can say glue, glue. Do we see what's going on here? This little mark is the only way in Hindi that we know of right now by which we can represent two consonants back to back with no vowel in between, just like we have here in the word glue, GL. There is no A, E, I, or U in between those. So we pronounce it back to back. How would we pronounce this? This is fallut, fallut, fallut. Okay, so if we add that, what did we get? Fault, fault. Do you see that? How do we pronounce this? Molad, molad. But if we add ching, get rid of the get rid of ugly duckling with the sword, we're left with mold, mold, mold. Very good. But now we really want a more peaceful method. Not only is it violent, it's messy. We don't want to write all those lines everywhere. So instead, we're going to use a saw. So in the saw method, we're actually going to chop off the part of saw to which is attached. Get rid of it that way, right? It's attached to that line, so let's get rid of it. Ching! And now we're left with half of a letter. This half of a letter, where we got rid of the line, represents S without the So it's just an extension of the same chopping methodology, view of thought that we've been examining. And that is the purpose of what we call conjuncts, getting rid of non-violently. And so now if we just glue back on ku, now what does this say? This says school. And now this says school. See? By chopping off half of sa, we chopped off we chopped off ugly duckling, and this left us with school. So, how do we pronounce this? This is half of a b followed by lu, which would be pronounced blue, blue. Very good, that is b. How would we pronounce this? This is half of a g followed by lu. So how do we pronounce this? Glue, glue. Do you see that that's half of a g? This is very important because you have to now recognize half of letters. How do we pronounce this? What is that? Well, that is half of a l followed by a d, and that is fault, fault. That is a half of a l. Half of a l again, followed by d. How do you pronounce this? Mold, mold. You can see slightly more elegant way and less messy way without having to slash everywhere on your piece of paper. Mold. That is once again half of a l. And so this method of sawing off the line really is valid when we talk about these letters highlighted in red. Why? Because they all have a vertical line at the far right. So these are the ones we can saw in half. We won't be able to do that with all the letters. You see the ones remaining? We're going to take away two more of those in a second. But these are the ones that you can saw in half. K, G, G, J, 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 N, Th, 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 N, P, B, B, M, Y, L, W, Sh, Sh, S. Okay, and so when you chop those things in half, you're left kind of with something that looks like this. And so you now have to be able to recognize these half of things when you see them. K, G, G, cha, ja, jha, na, ta, tha, dha, na, pa, ba, bha, ma, ya, la, va, sha, sha, sa. Okay. Similarly, we have these two, which have not a vertical line on the far right, but we have a vertical line in the very middle for ka and pa. And so, what do we do for those? We chop almost everything up onto the vertical line. You see a little bit hanging over, left over, but it's the same concept. We're chopping the letter in almost half. This is 2/3. And so you're left with these things. Ka, actually, this is not ka anymore. This is letter K and the letter we don't have in English. All right. Unless you want to say letter F. Well, that's fine. So we have these half things, and right, all we did is chop them to get rid of uh. And so, why are we doing this in Hindi? Well, we're doing this so that we can do the exact same thing we do in English all the time. If you look at the highlighted letters in red, those are all consonants. But what's interesting about these is there's nothing in between. There's no I, o, u. There's nothing in between. N, G, and L. Nothing in between. There's no vowels there. S and T, no vowels. C and R, no vowels. S and T, S T, D R, G L, S K, R T, S P, M P L, no vowels. And so this is what we're trying to do in Hindi and the reason why we introduce the conjunct. Because if not, then Mr. Ugly Duckling is always hiding there in between consonants. And we don't want that. And so we introduce the conjunct, the Sanyukt Akshar, and that's its purpose, to get rid of the vowels in between consonants so that we can have conjuncts, yes. Two consonants pronounced without a vowel in between. So how would we pronounce this? This is a s followed by ne. So that part of it is sneh, and then we just add the at the end, because at the end we pronounce it like, and so this would be sneh. All right. So what is this? This is a s followed by ma. So how would we pronounce this? Smaran, 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 smaran. It's the same sound as in English when we say smack, small. The sm, smaran. Do you see that? It's not samaran, but smaran. And now we have this. So what's the first one? This is a s followed by a ba. And the second one is a sh followed by a ta. So the first one we should know spa. It's the same SP sound in well, kind of in Spain. So here we have spa, spashed, spashed, spashed. You see that? Spashed. Once again, we got rid of two ugly ducklings in this word. So without this, we would have to say sapashata. But now we can say spashed. Don't forget that there is one ugly duckling still in this word, and that is after the pa, splashed. Okay, so this word, how would we pronounce this? Well, if you don't know how to pronounce the second letter in the conjunct in this word, I suggest you go back to the lesson where we discussed how that sounds in Hindi because it is different in English, and you often get a lot of questions by learners. Well, how is this really pronounced here? Well, if you do your mouth just like they do it in a native Hindi speaker would do it, then this becomes a non-issue because you just do it. So the first sound is swa, swa, swa. It is a s followed by wa, swa, swa, swagat, swagat, swagat. So now we can say all kinds of great things that we weren't able to put in the classes before. So this, once again, is the same conjunct in the beginning, s followed by wa. So swad, 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 swad. Okay, what is this? This is a sh, followed by way. So this is shwe, shwet, 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 shwet. What is this? Well, if you didn't know, this is a k, followed by wa. So kwahish, 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 kwahish. All right. What is this? This is a s followed by ta. So this will be pronounced stan, 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 stan. Go back to the previous one for a minute. And it's kind of the concept in this is kind of like what we have in English in quash, quash in that word. If you know, if you needed help with that. So, what is this? This is a sh followed by low. What is that then? Sh followed by low, slow, 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 slow. See, two consonants with no vowel sound in between. Slow. What is this? This is a sh followed by ya. So that would be sham, 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 sham. What is this? You didn't realize this is a va followed by a ya. So ya. It's a followed by ya. So now we have vya va har. Vya va har. Not vya bahar, but vya bahar. Yavahar. Yavahar. What is this? This is a followed by ya. So myan, 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 myan. What is this? This is a ba followed by yo. So this is a well, you can't really say that by itself. We need something to come after it. So this is biora, 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 biora. So this is where we get slightly more difficult because we're getting into the realm of sounds that can't be pronounced individually, but we can pronounce them when it's joined with another letter. So biora, biora, not biora, but biora, biora. So you kind of have to learn how to say the ya sound without adding anything in between the ba and the ya. So biora. What is this? This is a ba or a p really it's a P. We can't pronounce it by itself, followed by ya. So here we have yar, yar, yar. Now, the only time I can think about in English where we have this P followed by a Y is in a word like computer. Pew, we have pew, but here we have it in the beginning followed by a, so it's yar, yar. What is this? This is a half of a n, followed by ya. So this would be nyai. And that's an exception that we'll discuss eventually. Nyai. What is this? This is a the, which we can't pronounce. With halfway, we need it to have the ya. To pronounce it, followed by a ya. We got rid of ugly duckling, so this is pronounced dhyan. Dhyan. And now remember that this letter, the dha, is not found in English, so this has no equivalent in English. Dhyan, 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 dhyan. What is this? This is a the, well, a T really, a Hindi T sound, the soft T, soft T with no air, followed by ya. So once again, we can't pronounce that by itself. We need it to say it all together. Yag, ya, yag, 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 yag. It's very interesting because what your mouth is really doing, when I just noticed this, is that your mouth is moving to say the ya as you're saying the T sound in the beginning. So you're moving your mouth as you're saying the T sound with your tongue and your teeth. It's interesting. So that's the way how we can say both of these without any vowel. Tiag, tiag, tiag. What is this? This is a j followed by va. So jwala, 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 jwala. Same thing goes here. It's that your tongue can say the J sound, whereas your teeth and your lip is really pronouncing the va. So jwala, jwala, jwala. In this case, it's really your lips. So you can say this conjunct because your tongue and your lips can work independently of each other. Jwala, jwala. What is this? This is a ja followed by yo, jyotish, jyotish, jyotish. What is this? This is a G sound followed by wa. So guala, guala. Once again, your tongue is working independently of your lips. Guala, guala, guala. What is this? This is a ga followed by ya, gyara, 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 gyara. What is this? This is a non-aspirated K followed by lay. So glacier, gl, glacier, glacier, glacier. And the same with all other non-aspirated letters. When we say this, if you put your hand over your mouth, you should not feel air. This is always important. Glish, glish, glish. All right, so this one can be a little bit difficult at first glance because we have conjuncts in here, and then we have the I. And there's one lesson that we're going to learn out of this. And that lesson we'll talk about in a second. So, what do we do here? Well, it will help if we break up this word into syllables. If we remember what is a syllable, what we talked about syllable is basically some vowel sound surrounded by one or more consonants. So it can be a, it can be o, or it could be ub that has consonant after. It could be ubs, that's actually has a conjunct in it. It could be go, rum. But as long as we have one vowel, it will be one syllable. No matter how many conjuncts we add around it, either beginning or after it, one vowel. That's really our definition of a syllable. So we're going to separate this into syllables. And so we're going to split it at the conjunct. Because what do? We got rid of already. We chopped those in half. So it kind of makes sense to just break them apart right there. So why not do that? And so if we did this in English, think about this. It has a conjunct in kingdom, in between the G and the D. And so if we break those into two separate words right there, that is a conjunct, then we get king and dumb. Well, actually, it's a uh, three consonants together. We could also have said kin and dumb, but that's a bit hard to pronounce. So we chose to split in between the G and the D. So we get king and dumb. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to split in between the non-aspirated P sound and the soft non-aspirated dental T. And then we're going to split in between the S and the Ma. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to make individual syllables, and then we run into this. Now, this is the main point. One main issue that we should learn from this section is where does this I go? When we break apart the pa and the ta, who does I go with? Does it go with the pa or does it go with the ta? And one thing we have to remember about conjuncts is that conjuncts altogether are treated as one big letter. When we make a conjunct, it's now acting as if it were one letter. So we look at this word here. So the one letter here is r. So we have re. So the I is pronounced after that one letter, re. And so a conjunct is basically the same thing. The pa and the ta conjunct is one letter. And so the I is pronounced after the ta. And so when we break this in half, guess who the A is going to go with? It's going to go with the, because that's where it's pronounced afterward. So I goes with the because it's last. And so now, to make a long story short, we chop the first part and we're left with bop. Notice I have put the slash there. Bop. And then we chop, what's the rest? If we do bob, what comes next? Well, we're going to have to chop the sa in half too. And that leaves us with this. You see what we did there? Bob. What's left? This. Chop the s and the ma. Bob. This. And then we're left with ma. So put it all together. Bob. This. Ma. Bob. This. Ma. And so this is very important when you're come across new words with conjuncts. Split the conjuncts up and pronounce it one syllable at a time. Bop, the one vowel in bop is ah. Then we have this, the one vowel in this is I. And then we have ma. The one vowel in ma is ah. Three syllables. Bop, this, ma. Here we go. So whenever you find conjuncts in the middle of a word, if it's at the beginning of a word, we can't break it up. There's nothing you can do. If it's at the end of a word, you can't break it up. There's nothing you can do. But when conjuncts are in the middle of a word, then we can break them up so that we can pronounce the word as individual syllables. And so let's practice this. Here, where are we going to break? We're going to break this conjunct, right? Poop, poop. And then we're left with sup, no ear, sup, followed by da. Sup, followed by da. See, we broke it into two syllables. The first one, the vowel in it is and the vowel in the second one is ah. So two syllables each with one vowel. Why? Because each syllable has to have one vowel and no more than one vowel, one and only one vowel. Break this up. First is un, and then second is da. Unda. Unda. Let's break this up. The first syllable is at, second ma. Atma. Atma. So how do we know this is not na? Well, you probably figured it out already. We know it's not na because there's no loop. There's no loop. It's a ta. Na will have this little loop. So this would be anma, but na has a loop. And so let's separate this right at the conjunct. So what is this? This is sub followed by z. Sub z. Sub z. Let's separate this. Pa, kis, dan. Pa, kis, dan. Each has one vowel. A, I, a. How do we separate this? Hin, do. Hin, do. How do we separate this? Ghan, da. Ghan, da. Lan. Lan. Lum, ba. Lum, ba. Lumba. Gup, ti. Gup, ti. Gupti. Ban, dar. Ban, dar. Bandar. Tak, ta. Tak, ta. Tak, ta. Remember where the I goes? It's going to go after the entire conjunct, and so it's going to go with right? The K sound. Bal ki, bal ki, bulky. ईश्वर, ईश्वर, ईश्वर. चिल हर्ड, चिल हर्ड. दफ्तर, दफ्तर, दफ्तर. Pashchim. Once again, the A has to go with ja. Pashchim, Pashchim, Pashchim. Us tak, us tak, ustak. So this is going to have three syllables. Have we figured them out? Well, you know one has to have the I in it, then there's another I in it, and then there's a A. So those are going to be our three syllable, the middle of our the core of our three syllables. So im, ti, han, im, ti, han, imtihan, imtihan. And now we can finally say the Hindi greeting. Three syllables. Once again, a, na, mas, te, na, mas, te. Notice that in the first syllable, it is not it is as in ugly duckling. Second, same with the second, as in ugly duckling. So this is na, mas, te, namaste, which is probably not the way you originally learned it. Namaste. This again, this too has three syllables. Ar, ar, arn. Actually, I lied. This is actually two syllables. If you notice, the first one is ar. Now let's just skip over this one. This is bad example. Oh, yeah. confuse myself. Okay, so we have the first syllable is ah, the second syllable is run, and then the third syllable is yuck. And so another alternative we could have said is ar, and then un, and then yuck. And so we notice there's only one conjunct here, and that's between na and ya, nya, the nya conjunct. And so we have a, run, yuck, or alternative are, un, yuck. Either way would have been fine. And now we can say thank you. Interesting. So we break this up, 3 syllables once again. Dhan, ya, vad. So 2 us, a. Dhan, ya, vad. Dhan, ya, vad. Dhanyavad. 3 syllables because we have a. So we have cha, mat, kar. Or alternatively, so this is the first one, cha, mat, kar. Or alternatively, we could have broken it this way, cham, at, kar. Still have 2 syllables, we just broke it a different way. Is, de, mal. Is, de, mal. Istemal. 3 syllables again, because we see 3 vowels here. Tum, ha, ra. Tum, ha, ra. Tumhara. Tum, ha, ra. Tumhara. Here we see pa, rim, lan. Pa, rim, lan. Of course, alternatively, we could have separated this again into par, im, lan. So either way would have been fine, as long as we separate it into correct syllables. Par, im, lan. Pa, rim, lan. Parim, lan. Muk, ya, ta. Muk, ya, ta. Mukhyata. Mukhyata. Gus, ta, ki. Gus, ta, ki. Gustaki. Gustaki. Du, rus, ti. Du, rus, ti. And alternatively, we could have said dur, us, ti. But we chose to say do, rus, ti, durusti, durusti. Kil be she. Kil be she. Kil be she. Ka nish te ka. So 4 syllables. Ka nish te ka. Alternatively, we could have said gun ish te ka, but we didn't break it that way. So ka nish te ka. Oh, now this is a pretty nasty one, right? Three conjuncts connected. We have this in English too, so don't think it's crazy. So this is frustrate. So we have a S, T, and R all joined together. And so how would we break this up? Well, we could break it into frust and trait. Alternatively, we could break it into frust and rate. Frustrate, frust, rate. I think most of us would probably break it into frust and trait. But either way, we can chop between the first two or the last two. And so that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to chop this, the first two. Let's chop the first two first. And we have jyot. So why didn't we chop the beginning? Well, because we can't break up the beginning. We can only break up conjuncts in the middle of words. Keep that in mind. Jyot, and then we have sna. So if you want to think about it in a way, it's S-N-A. Jyot, sna. Alternatively, we could break it up like this. Jyots and na. So either way, jyot and sna or jyots and na. Either way, it's jyotsna. Jyotsna. So here we would break. If you remember, unfortunately, the re is treated as a vowel. So we have ba, rish, grit. Ba, rish, grit. Barish, grit. And that's the end. So, hope you enjoyed it, and we will continue with conjuncts next time.